My name is Jennifer Slay, and I am an entrepreneur in the city of London, Ontario. Well, I'm a therapist, and I work with women who are experiencing some anxiety as well as some depression. I went through a similar time in my life, and I promised, I would pray, and I promised myself, when I get through this, I'm going to help others be able to move through it. And that's what I've dedicated my life to do. I do a number of things. I'd almost call myself an entrepreneurial junkie at this point because I'm involved in so many different things. I actually grew up in Canada. I was born in Canada. My parents are from Jamaica. I'm Canadian with Jamaican heritage. So I have the richness of two cultures. And I was in northern Manitoba, actually. It was a very tiny city, 26,000. I always had dreams of doing something big and huge, and so that's why I moved to London. I would have gone to Toronto, but my father said that would be a huge culture shock, so I ended up in London. I have been in London since 1993, 27 years. 27 years. I can't believe I can say I've been an adult that long. It's been crazy. London at that time wasn't as diverse as it is now. So people know me because I'm the only Black person that would be there. And so I became a little bit popular that way. I am a minority in terms of the culture of London. However, it's getting a lot better. I can go through a day and see a number of Black people, whereas when I first moved to London, I might be the only Black person I'd see in a day. I think my personality has helped because I do study human behavior and I do understand culture and all of those things. I think that has really helped me to be able to fit into wherever I need to fit into. So if I think of my entrepreneurial journey, I kind of fit into whatever culture I've had to be in within the city, and that's helped a lot. I went to Western and I achieved an anthropology degree, the study of man, because I love to understand how the mind works. And so with anthropology, I got into learning about culture and how people worked with one another. And then I went into social work to learn how the mind works. And then I melded the two and became a social worker. A few years later, I did a master's degree in social work. And so I grew up in a very small, close community. Once you hit 18, you start getting that itch, like there's more to this world, there's more to this world. I actually was going to go to California because I had this idea of being Miss America. Of course, can't be Miss America, I'm Canadian, so that wasn't gonna work, but I ended up staying in Canada. I was just afraid to go and try something new. And given the climate right now, I'm so glad I did. But there's been times where I've wanted to move. And so when I came to London, I was in university, I partied a lot. But had a good time, got my degrees, ended up having a family and stayed. So I was a social worker in child welfare for a number of years, and then I wanted to do something on my own. I started my own makeup and styling company, and it just kind of broadened. Always in the helping field though, because I always wanted women to feel good about themselves. So it started with the makeup, but I really wanted women to feel good on the inside, not just the outside. Ended up with my own practice, which I do now. I'm a therapist and a professional speaker. But on the other side, there's a number of different things. I have a number of projects going on right now in terms of TV programs and training, workshops, all of those types of things. I have partnered with another woman in the community to create programs for women in leadership, and that's called All Women Lead. So it's been a wonderful journey. I have 3 children. They range from 12 to 22. I was a single mom for a long time, and so as a single mom, trying to run a business, and at the time I was also working, it was tough. The kids were left alone a lot. so that I could get stuff going. My parents, they used to babysit a lot. My partner helps me out a lot as well. They would support me in so many ways. So I've always been very fortunate to have people that are supportive, who are trusting. I have a great support system at home, which helps me to be able to do that. Because I have huge dreams for the future. I've often said for at least 10 years, I'm building an empire, right? Something to leave my kids, a legacy. And so for me, it's building that team, that close-knit team around me, and then having different streams of income. So there's not one thing that I do, I have different streams. And I think being flexible and versatile in that way is what's necessary to survive in the entrepreneurial world. The way I grew up, the way my father grew my sister and I up, was there's nothing that you cannot do as long as you work hard. And because I have that mentality, when I'm faced with a challenge, it's like, okay, so instead of focusing on what that challenge is, what's the solution to move past it? Now, because I have the personality that I do, I trust people a lot. So my challenge in terms of entrepreneurial journey is that I trust everyone and not really doing my own research on how that actually happens. And so I've spent a lot of money in things that probably aren't the best to have invested in. I'm finding now, learning, because the new people that I work with through marketing are teaching me stuff, that there's no promises, right? There are no promises. There's a formula, and if you follow the formula, then benefits are going to come, but there aren't any promises. And so if I was to give advice to women, it's to always surround yourself with like-minded people within your industry who can help support you and mentor you. I think if you have that support system, then you probably won't make the number of mistakes that I did in the beginning. Finding out what industry of what business you want to get into, and then finding out who in the city is doing that and contacting them. There's so many people in this city who you can call up, ask a number of questions, and they'll answer them for you. There's really wonderful people. Develop some close relationships where you can have a mentoring type of relationship and go from there. I mean, Google is amazing. You just type in women leadership, women networking, all of those types of things, and you'll find something, and then it's just trial and error. You'll quickly figure out where you should be from where you shouldn't be. The advice that I get from business coaches now is never use your own money when you're starting your business. There are a lot of government grants. Right now, the way the world works, there's money pouring out from the government to support minorities, especially women in business. Because women actually are, I think, the number one entrepreneurs in the country are women. Our businesses run by women. So. Because of the nature of my job, I'm a therapist. The pandemic has created a lot of people with anxiety, a lot of people starting to experience depression. In terms of that, my clients have increased. Also, you know, when a challenge comes, I'm going to say the word that everyone says, you have to pivot. You have to figure out, how can I make this work? And that's exactly what I've done. I struggle saying favor because a horrible thing happened, but when the murder of George Floyd happened, the plight of Black people became public. Like, people started realizing what's going on. And so because I have a passion for diversity work, that allowed me to be able to do that even more. There was a Black Lives Matter march here in London, and thousands of people were there. 10,000 people were there, and I was just bawling. It was worldwide. It is worldwide. I've never seen anything like it. Now, the opposite side of that is it impacted me in a way where for months I wasn't feeling anything. Like, I just couldn't feel. And so the therapist required support at that time, right? And so, yeah, it's been a tough time. But like I said, my parents raised me to how can this benefit? And so that's what I focus on.
Do you have anything to add?
Follow me on social media.
Sure.